Hi, I'm Mitchell Wright, and today I'm going to be talking about my research project for EMS4 Will Extension. My research project was based around a problem discovered in Will while on placement at Spire in Bendigo. This research project was based around land development in Bendigo, which since a peak in 2012-13 at 1,200 dwellings completed has dropped down to approximately 750 by 2017-18. Despite this, Ballarat has continued to rise, which is the most comparable market in Victoria. Despite all this, population growth is expected to be the same between the two cities in the Victorian State Government's recent Victoria for the Future study. So it's interesting to note, where will Bendigo expand, and can they even achieve these forecasts? Whether this is just a blip or whether it's a trend that Bendigo needs to fix. So this project will explore some context between the two regions and whether there's a key difference at all and what Bendigo can do to achieve these goals. Firstly, having a look at geographical context. There exist some key differences between the two regions that could explain why land development has gone on at different rates recently. In terms of Bendigo, as you can see on the right, the city centre is basically encompassed entirely by National Park, something that isn't evident in Ballarat. This adds a sort of natural barrier between the urban centre and the surrounding rural townships. Another major difference is that Ballarat is much closer to Melbourne. This means that Melbourneites can live in Ballarat and still work in Melbourne, whereas this is a bit harder with Bendigo. This means travel times on the V1 are much faster. For Ballarat, it takes approximately an hour, 15 minutes, where Bendigo is up to 2 hours. Both regions have also taken different strategies in terms of land development recently. Bendigo tends to focus towards a compact city model, which is usually focused on high infill development, meaning development of less than 10 watts, which is generally in the urban centres. And this means that there's low rural township development and in turn less greenfield development, which is opposite of infill. But Ballarat has done quite the opposite. They only have one main growth area at the moment, the Ballarat West Precinct, and this is actually quite full of greenfield development, large lots and such. Interestingly though, Ballarat is aiming to move towards high infield development in the future, so Bendigo could possibly catch up if they change strategy. It's also important to have a look at just how much land is actually available in both of these two areas. In 2017, Bendigo had 13,500 watts available for future development, which is approximately 13 to 17 years, whereas Ballarat in 2009 had 32,000. So this shows that Ballarat tends to have a lot more available land. These studies that produce these numbers, though, do only look at the urban corridor, so this could be further expanded if you look into rural townships, something that Bendigo isn't particularly doing at the moment. Bendigo also tends to have a lot more fragmentation in its land compared to Ballarat. As you can see across on the right, the yellow area denotes Ballarat's new Ballarat West Precinct. You can see there's not much fragmentation. A lot of the land parcels are very big, which is perfect for greenfield development, which is where a lot of the lots come from. So what exactly Bendigo is doing to continue into the future and possibly meet these goals is they have the Plan Greater Bendigo initiative. The two key points of this are to develop a stronger, more vibrant city centre, focusing on that compact city model. They also want to implement a metro rail which will link rural townships to the city centre in hope that people will move into these areas and still be able to experience this new vibrant city centre they're hoping for. It's interesting to note on the right hand side, this is the plan for the metro rail. There's no link to the eastern side into like Strathfield, say, and Exdale and that. So for this project, the recommendations after all this information is to expand the scope of the Bendigo Metro Rail, as just stated, and to continue implementing the planned Greater Bendigo initiative. This will allow them to focus on their compact city model thing that Bendigo has gone with lately, but by expanding the Metro Rail, you'll also be able to increase rural township development and as such increase greenfield development, which should hopefully mean that the population will rise to the Victoria for the future expectations. I would just like to conclude by sending an acknowledgement to Cameron Clark, the Business Unit Director at Spire. I can't thank him enough for allowing me the opportunity to have my placement there during Will in semester 1, and the guidance he's provided me during my research project for EMS4 WEX. Without Cam's help, this project would not have been able to be completed, and I can't thank him enough. Thank you.